Hey everybody, it's Pastor Scott, and today I am joined with Jim Severs. Jim is our lay leader, and so we are going to be talking about what's coming this weekend for our second class. This is our how to connect ourselves more with the United Methodist traditions, why we're United Methodist. And so this is for our new members and seekers class, anybody that's interested in learning more about United Methodist Church and specifically about some of the things we do at Herndon United Methodist Church. And so in this weekend's class, we're going to start with our sacraments. The sacraments in the United Methodist Church are very, very important. They're vital to all the things that we do and all the things that we talk about, especially in the two that we have. One is baptism, and the second one is Holy Communion, also known as Eucharist or the Great Thanksgiving or the Lord's Supper or whatever else you want to call it. And so for us, the sacraments are an opportunity for us to remember of all the sacrifices that we've received from Jesus, but also ways that we can live our lives. And so we're going to talk specifically about baptism. We're going to talk specifically about Holy Communion. What is our role in the church? And when I mean by our role, I mean as members of the body of Christ. And so we have some responsibilities. I was telling Jim before we started, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a question about, am I supposed to be doing something during Holy Communion? And so the answer is yes. And so we'll talk more about that during the class. And then we're going to change things over and talk about the role of laity. Everybody knows that the clergy are involved in the preaching and the teaching and leading worship services and being involved in visitation and congregational care. But by the way, the laity can do all those things. And the laity really are the ones that set the pace of the church. I said in our last week's class, the importance of that the church has the identity of what the laity is and not of the clergy person. The clergy person can help set direction and help move the church in certain directions, but it's more about the laity. And so Jim's going to talk more about the role of the laity. So Jim, I'm just going to kind of throw it over to you and just can you give us an idea of some of the things that they may hear about this weekend?
Sure. Thanks, Scott. We look forward to sharing with you a little bit about the role of the laity and how they contribute to the life of the church. You know, when we become members of the church, we talk about committing our prayers, our presence, our gifts, our service, and our witness to the church. And we are all in partnership and relationship with that. You know, a couple of years ago when Scott initiated the life groups, he emphasized it's about relationships. And the laity has a very critical relationship, first and foremost with Jesus Christ, but also with each other, with the clergy and with all the other members of the church. And there's an important role for the laity to play in carrying out the mission of our church to serve others and to share God's love.
That's great, Jim. And I would tell you that we are blessed to have a great lay leader with Jim, but I think it's really important to understand this congregation is one that loves and cares for one another. And I think that's amazing. I would love for us to take that to the next level for those in laity and find ways that we can connect outside the walls of the church, outside into the community, and to find other things that we can do. We have lots of little mission projects that are happening, but if we were able to get everybody on board, I think it would be a great opportunity for us. So, Jim, when we talk about laity, you know, a lot of people associate that, oh, those are the leaders that serve on those committees, right? Or you might have a couple of people that lead a Sunday school class, but there's so much more to it, and a lot of it, you know, we talk about missions and ministries, right? There's so many different missions and ministries, and the ministries is not just the clergy leading things. So kind of putting you on the spot here, but can we talk a little bit about the missions and ministries aspect and what that group does and how it's really a laity-driven group that the staff is involved with?
Oh, absolutely. We do when we changed a couple years ago from a church council model to a resource management team that largely covered the governance of the church and a mission and ministries team. One of the primary objectives was to ensure that we had very important collaboration and coordination and communication amongst all our ministries and all our mission areas. And we have found that in support of some of our goals to have things more multi-generational and reach out to the community. A couple examples is our increased focus on Link with our monthly food bags, and also with our increased relationship with a high school that we saw recently in Rise Up Against Hunger. So those are just two examples, but the important thing is, and we did this probably 5 or 6 years ago, thanks to Julie, is tried to document all the contributions members of the laity were making to the missions and ministries of the church, not only inside the walls of the church, but outside the walls. And there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cross involvement. That doesn't mean necessarily 400 or 500 people, but some people are involved in 5 or 6 things. And it's not just people that have been in our church community for 20 or 30 years, but it's people who walked in the door within the last 6 months and were brought in by the preschool, by Upward, by some of our other programs, but they have become instrumental members of our church, and again, living up to our mission of serving others and sharing God's love. And that is not restricted to clergy or even our paid staff or volunteers, but the whole team that we have to work on that and work on sharing God's love.
I told you we had a great lay leader, my friends. So this Sunday, we're going to learn a lot more about the role of laity. And one of the things we'll also touch on next week in the next week's class is we're going to talk about the role of the laity and clergy when it comes to voice and vote. A lot of people don't know this, but in the United Methodist Church, clergy and laity have equal voice and equal vote. We're one of the only conferences that does that. A lot of other places, it's just the clergy that vote on things, and the laity have to follow with whatever direction they go. Not in United Methodist Church. United Methodist Church, it is really imperative that the laity have a voice and that they have an opportunity to have the same amount of vote that our clergy does. So I hope that you'll consider coming to this Sunday. We will have pizza there, so pizza will be delivered, so we'll be able to enjoy some pizza while we're sitting there and going through this class. We're also going to be recording this for our confirmands that can't make it. So I look forward for you guys to come to learn about our sacraments of baptism and Holy Communion, as well as the role of the laity. So, Jim, thanks. Appreciate you coming.
Looking forward to it.
And we look forward to seeing you guys this Sunday. Have a great day.